Yebo, yebo Mzansi. Emadoda ake sikhulumeni ukuthi inkinga yethu kahle 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 ikuphi inkinga yethu. Ngoba inkinga yethu ikhona. Sinenkinga. It's 2023. Sikhuluma izinto ezizosisiza ukuthi u-2023 wethu uhambe kahle. Nayi enye indaba. I-issue ye-dependency syndrome. English phela. Dependency syndrome. I-dependency syndrome maybe singayichaza ngesiNdebele nangesiZulu kancane sibone ukuthi siyafinyelela naye ukuthi khona ukuhlathuluka kahle ukuthi into enjani i-dependency syndrome. I-dependency syndrome umoya wokusama isiNdebele leso. I-dependency syndrome it's a spirit or umoya wokwencika. Ukuncika it's a spirit umoya ukuncika. Nawufundiswe ukuncika noma ufunde ukusama or ufunde ukuma nga-something nabasusa lento le obvious uyaba ubhilivela ukuthi lento le yiyo ekusizayo, it's your supporting system yiyo or it's a support system yiyo okhona ukuhamba nayikhona yiyo khona ukuphila nayikhona. Ngaphandle kwayo lento le uzibona ngazathi weak, uzibona ngazathi angeke ukhona ukwenza next. Now we were previously colonized. Before inkazi ama-apartheid we were colonized by the British. They came up with this thing engintshela ngasaloywa kahle 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 siloyiwe nge-dependency syndrome ukuthi sifunde ukuthi into yethu nayizohamba kahle kwakose ibe ne-Britain phakathi. Into yethu nayizohamba kahle kwakose ibe ne-England phakathi. Without bona it means that we are nothing. So it took time. Lento le ithethe isikhathi, ikuzothatha isikhathi ukuthi siyilungise. Le khathi sicoloniziwe bekungakacolonizwanga ama-resource, kungakacolonizwanga umhlaba kuphela. We were also mentally colonized. We were mentally colonized. Ney'ngqondo zethu lezi beziboshiwe. Abogogo wethu abomkhulu wethu bafundiswa ukuthi i-government i-everything ey'mpilweni zabo. Bafundiswa ukuthi the government is everything empilweni zabo, kwamele yonke into yabo ithembele or incike ku-government, ngaphandle kwaloko awulungi. Imani ngintshele nayo imfihlo. Bonke abantu engibaziyo abaphumelele, they managed to disconnect themselves from the system. They managed to disconnect themselves from the system ye-dependence. Once you can be able to figure out how do you disconnect yourself from this system, you are going far. Once you can disconnect from the dependency syndrome, you are going far. It's an assurance. You are going far. Now ngaphunyuka kule nto sibambile lento le. Isibambe to the level yokuthi inama level la isibambe khona esingakhona ukwalwisa. Yabona maybe local lana nakhona isibambile la inside the family. Inside the family i-system yethu ye-family iyodwa so naye isifundise ukuncika. We're busy creating people ukuthi bafunde ukuncika so that nabo bazobeletha abantwana abancikile nalabantwana kusho ukuthi kuncike omunye ancike komunye nomunye ancike komunye ingabi khona ozimelayo. Ngazi nayisho indaba ye-dependency syndrome. If 2023 will be suffering the same system or we're suffering under the same spell, especially dependency syndrome, we are not going to make it. How are you going to make it to believe ukuthi kose kube nomuntu okusizayo uzophumelela? Yes, umuntu ngabantu cannot run away from that. On a level ye network, on a level yama-partnership, on a level that it's not putting you under bondage. Umuntu ngabantu on the level engafaka omunye umuntu under bondage, engafaka omunye umuntu ukuthi abe yisigqila. That is umuntu ngabantu, that is ubuntu. But now kwaqala kwaba nalento ye-dependency syndrome. Ngifuna ukukhuluma nge-dependency syndrome. Hayi khona ngisizeni ngifuna ukukhuluma nge-dependency syndrome. I-government ayikatshentshi ngithi mina i-government ayikatshintshi i-system. Possible maybe abo-capitalism nabo-socialism and communism they are forcing ukuthi ba-change in but lento ye-dependency syndrome is still in the system, is inside the system of the government. Leyo create abantu abazothembela, abantu bangazimeli baphakame. Uzimela uphakame dependent, we have noticed lento engiyishoyo waphunyuka. Abazophunyuka yibo abazophumelela from the dependency syndrome. Nangithola ngithi Mzansi, look, le phezulu ku-systems ne-national government, ne-provincial government, sinama-district wethu nama-local. Angithi ama-national ayenzelwe ukuthi ama-province adepende ku-national, and then ama-district adepende ku-province, ama-local adepende ku-district, to the level ukuthi ama-local also adepende ku-national. Ane? Light, imani ngingenelele futhi kancane. Mina la ngikhona la kwaNdebele, ne? IKwaNdebele inabo municipalities aba-different abafana nabo Thembisile municipality, abo Dr. J.S. Moroka municipality. Yo dependency syndrome. IThembisile idepende ku-government grant for ukuphumelela. Anginenzela nge-government kuqala, nginenzela ngama-system we-government before ngize empilweni zethu. IThembisile idepende ku-government grant enye ibizwa i-MIG, the Municipal Infrastructure Grant. Badepende phezu kwayo for ukubhadala amanzi we-rain water abawasebenzisayo, for ukubhadala abasebenzi. They are failing to collect revenue. They are failing ukwenza njengabanye abomasipala maybe engibaziyo who are able to collect their own revenue, baqoqelela imali yabo abakhona ukuthuthukisa ngayo indawo, because abantu bonke balasihleli khona badepende ku-government for everything. Depende ku-government for everything, for umsebenzi, for amagranti, everything. For ukwakhelwa izindlu badepende kwi-government. Those abaphunyukile bayibonile lento yokudependa ku-government ukuthi lento leyo ingisiza ithi ke ngizimele. But most people badepende ku-government for everything, to the level yokuthi there are very few people la ngikhona who are paying ama-services, who are paying municipality anything. They don't pay anything from the municipality because they feel so entitled ey'ntweni zakamasipala. They feel so entitled. Ngizokhuluma nale ndaba ye-entitlement. Le ndaba ye-entitlement nayo iyasibulalisa. Njalo ngifuna ukukhuluma ngezinto ezisibulalisayo ezisenza sihlale ndawonye isikhathi eside, sibe busy ngama-New Year resolution kodwa singafinyeleli ndawo. The issue ye-dependency syndrome. Ngiyayibona, you believe ukuthi nawuzazi uphumelele from uqeda isikole, you believe ukuthi nawuzazi uphumelele lapho malume akho kose bakusize, kose uthole ibhazari, kose uthole usizo. You believe ukuthi you cannot make it until uzuthole usizo. That's why it's so difficult for umuntu omnyama eSouth Africa ukuthi aqale into yakhe ayiqale phansi iziphumelele. Because umuntu wase-South Africa omnyama ubhilivela ukuthi kunomuntu okose amsize, kunokose athole usizo ku-government, kunala kose athole khona usizo. Yes, usizo lukhona, kunama-department asiza abantu on different things. But now lama-department asiza abantu, they don't just give you help. They don't just give you help, you must comply with certain things. Ila sistake khona, most of us sistake ku-compliance. Abantu abasha even manje, abantu abasha bayazi ngikhuluma ngani. Ungahamba manje uyofuna i-grant ye-NYDA, National Youth Development Agency. Angeke bafike bathi wow besilinde wena nayo 150,000. You have to comply with lot of things. Abaningi bagcina babalekela i-compliance ngoba bajwayele ukwenzelwa yonke into. They have this dependency syndrome. You must do everything for yena. Nede umnike imali kuphela, ahamba ahlale ekhaya, athole imali. Ukuthi asebenze enze lento ayi-applyele laphayana encwadini kuba difficult ukuthi ayenze lento le. Hayi bo. Sithena singena ku-1994, sibuyele emuva kancane. Sithena singena 1994 sithatha i-government. Zithe sisuka zibekwa nje. Government yeza noMasakhane bengikhona lapha kuMasakhane. Program le ngiyayazi. Government yeza noMasakhane, we started building people izindlu bevele zakhiwa from government ye-apartheid. Bekunama-forum nama-tourism emalokishini. Lezi zinto lezi bezivele zikhona. But now the government yaqhubeka la kugcine khona the previous government. Sakhelwa izindlu ey'fanayo ezi-pitch. Izindlu ezi-pitch ezifanayo. Because it was not easy for the government ukuthi inikele umuntu imali nga-1 ukuthi yakha the kind of house oyifunayo nayi 150,000, because people, they were going to eat that money and expect the government to continue feeding them. We have a challenge dependency syndrome. Icreatiwe manje seyi-rooted lakithi, beyi-rooted kubomkhulu bethu, yaba-rooted kubazali bethu, manje i-rooted kithi, siyindlulisela nasebantwaneni. Ke ngibuye kancane futhi ngize efemelini, ngiyamixa lezi zinto. Buye kancane ngize efemelini. Sikhulisa abantwana baze babe na 48, babe na 50, bahlele emakhaya. Wenza mari new year resolution una 46 uhlele ekhaya kini. At the age of 46 uhlele ekhaya kini ubhizi wenza mari new year resolution ukuthi unyaka lo ngiyasebenza, unyaka lo ngiyosebenza, unyaka lo ngiyo. Ekhaya kini at the age of 50. Ngiyavuma there are circumstances ayenza abantu bahlale emakhaya forever. But at the age of 50 uhlele ekhaya kini ubhizi ngama new year resolution. You think there is anything as a change? The first thing, of course, we find is to change. Go and seek your own place to stay. Tolinda we have your especially now we in daughter, especially now in daughter, go and get your place. Tolinda we yokuhlala utwenza inqumo zentuthuko zempumelelo uzenzele phezulu ukuthi una something kunala uhleli khona. We are too relaxed. We are expecting good. Ulinde at the age of 50 ulinde ukuthi uholy grant your pension. Ulinde ukuthi uthole old age grant. It means that we are going to wait for the next coming 15 years or 10 years until you get a grant. There is nothing else you can do up until then. Dependency syndrome idlale ngabantu in politics, idlale ngabantu in business, idlale ngabantu in the ministry, hayi ngiyangena konke, idlale ngabantu ku-education, i-dependency syndrome idlale ngabantu in all sectors. Funa ukuthi qaphu lapha kuma-sectors lapha. Angiqale khona la ku-ministry. Islimazile le ndaba yokuthi umfundisi is everything in the church. It's not a system, by the way, that was biblically established. It was man-made. There is a pastor who is responsible for everything. It's man-made. It's not biblical. It's not in the Bible where the pastor is it's a strength or it's a heartbeat of everything that is happening in the church. You can't be a visionary of a church, but the church cannot depend on you for everything. Ufundisa abazalwane ukuthi ngoba bakhulekelayo bona kose baqhubeke nempilo wena uzobakhulekela. Ufundisa abazalwane ukuthi amandla wokupholisa akuwe kuphela esontweni. Ufundisa abazalwane ukuthi amandla we-deliverance atholakala kuwe kuphela esontweni. You are spreading dependency syndrome. Wonke umuntu udepende kuwe. What's going to happen mzukwana ufa? Or you think you will not die? Because you will surely die. You'll die. What's going to happen the day ufa? Sifundise abantu ukudependa kithi, abafundisi everything. Mfundisi Nkosi ayenze ukuthi, umfundisi Nkosi angenzele ukuthi, umfundisi Nkosi angenzele ukuthi. Now uthi khiphani imali. Now uthi that's why abantu abaningi they are against indaba yokunikela esontweni, they are against ukutithe. Most of people, because they are used umfundisi abayenzela everything. Meaning that now bona kose ba relax and it's like it's an obligation for a pastor to do everything. Now into engayithandi ngabantu abane dependency syndrome. They feel ukuthi it's the obligation yabantu abathile ukuthi babenzele something. They feel so entitled to things. They feel so entitled to things. We are entitled to this. Umfundisi umsebenzi wakhe kose asingcwabele nasifile. Umsebenzi wakhe kose asibhabhadise. Umsebenzi wakhe kose abusise abantwana. Umsebenzi wakhe kose azothandaza. Umsebenzi wakhe. Umsebenzi wakhe umuntu akenza umsebenzi wakhe. It's a dependency syndrome. Dependency syndrome. Singena ku-education. Education system yethu i-develope i-dependency syndrome dangerous. That's why abantwana bethu kuba nzima ukuthi bazimele nabefika le ma-university nanani. Bafike balibalwe bumnandi. They cannot focus, they cannot concentrate. Because esikolweni bayenzelwa everything. System enjani yenzela umntwana everything. lento enye ekhona futhi manje ku-system yokuthi it's not everyone good ukubhala ezinye kusebazikhulumi izinto ongakwazi ukubhala akhulume abuze i-test, the whole test sikubuze wena uphendule, kungabi na next oyibhalayo because they claim ukuthi you are not good in writing but maybe you are good in talking, meaning that kose ngikubuza ama-question ungiphendule mina ngikubhalele, ungiphendule ngikubhalele. I'm telling you, it's already in the system, a very dangerous dependency syndrome. Dependency syndrome is there in business. It's there in business, in private sector, full of dependency syndrome. About businessmen abaningi, they cannot promote or allow other people to grow to their level. Ngenza sure ukuthi niqhubeka nokucela kimi so that anytime nanginama demand phezu kwenu nizokhona ukufulfilla those demands. Nginiholela nedi ukuthi nikhone ukuqhubeka nokuzocela kimi. Lento ye-dependency syndrome is-create-ela bonkulunkulunyana abaningi kabi. Kunabantu abaphenduka onkulunkulunyana basemhlabeni because of i-dependency syndrome. Bayazi ukuthi laba ngaphandle kwami they are nothing. Laba nalona lo ngaphandle kwami they are nothing. Badepende kimi nga-everything. Dependency syndrome, dangerous. It's dangerous. Ibulela ibhizinisi, the system ye-business beyiba mnandi, imnandi nonke nanikhula nonke, and then the system grows. But the dependency syndrome esiyi-create-ile ibulele amabhizinisi amaningi. Na-understand indaba ye-dependency syndrome ukuthi dangerous kangakanani. Asizeni singeneni kancane naku-politics. Kunabantu ku-politics, leaders, abazitshelile ukuthi without them we cannot do anything, nothing happens, akunanto ehambayo, akunanto emuvayo ngaphandle kwabo. They've created ama-supporters, they have created abantu be-dependency syndrome. Ukhulise abantu around yena abadepende kuye nga-everything, wenza sure ukuthi nidepende kuye. If u-against yena ubonakala ngazathi uyisitha. Once waphambana naye, you become an enemy. Wenza sure ukuthi whatever niyifunayo akhonakala ukuthi nithole something yena angasi-involved. Namuntu okose asebenze angasi-involved yena. Akunamuntu okose abe nomuzi yena angasi-involved. Akunamuntu okose abe nemali yena angasi-involved. Sikhuluma ngepolitiki. Nayo ine-dependency syndrome enye enkulu i-dependency syndrome yepolitiki. Someone up there ophethe ama-million owafake odrobhini, wenza sure ukuthi urana the whole province or the whole region or the whole district. Run i-district ngama-envelope brown, wenza abantu ukuthi bakhona ukudependa kuye ukuthi hayi, ngaphandle kwale ndoda lena madoda sindawo, ngaphandle kwale ndoda sikhona ukuthola amathenda, ngaphandle kwale ndoda sikhona ukusebenza. Sibuswa i-dependency syndrome or sibuswa indoda. Are we being led by leaders or are being led by dependency syndrome? Kunabantu esibalandela ngoba ziyasikosa, hayi ngoba siyabathanda. Yabona i-dependency syndrome inengozi njani. You end up ulandela abantu because ziyasikosa ukuthi ubalandele. You end up udepende ebantwini because ziyasikosa ukuthi udepende ebantwini labo. Hayi ngoba they are good in what they are doing, or not that they are good in anything, but because they've managed to manipulate things. I-dependency syndrome ihlupha ngoba igcwele ama-manipulators, people who have managed to manipulate the system. Once I'm able to manipulate, once I study the system and I'm able to manipulate it, then I create people who will depend on me so that I can continue growing because of that system. Asisukumeni sizimele ma-Afrika asisukumeni, asifundiseni abantwana bethu ukuzimela, asifundiseni izizukulu zethu ukuzimela, sifundise izizukulu zethu ukusebenza ngezandla, asifundiseni abazukulu bethu ukungena ku-business. Look at other tribes, look at other races, look at Indians. No dependency syndrome. Uthi ukukhula bewazi ukuthi la I'm working. Wake up every day, you go esitolo sikababa, you are going to work. Awudependanga kubabakho ukuthi kosaletha imali. iqala emakhaya Jace this thing ukuthi abazali bethu basisebenzele basifide size sibe na 48 ufuthi umzali uzube na 50 aza kufide ngemali yepension nibange nale mali yakhe yepension afe ntsale nibanga mafa because nidepende kuye noma ngekho noma file still depende kuye limlandela noma ngasekho anile ngemuva limlandele nofuna izinto kuya ngekho kini i-dependency syndrome isifundise enye into i-dependency syndrome mina angikholwa ukuthi uNkulunkulu usidalele ukuthi sibe na that thing uNkulunkulu ufuna simthembe nga everything but i-theory yokuthemba uNkulunkulu ifuna ube very very deep if you want to understand. That's why uNkulunkulu usifundisa ukuthi most of the things esiyifuna zikithi. We've been given power. Nikiwe ikhiye usifundisa ukuthi most of the things esiyifuna zikithi. That's why uthi if we had faith as little as mustard seed, we'll say to this mountain, go ye to the sea, the mountain will listen to us. That's why iBhayibheli teaches us about faith. And it teaches us that faith is assurance of unseen things to be true. Nayibona le ndaba alisifundisa i-dependence ukuthi we must depend on this, we must depend emanzini, must depend e-oilini, must depend. Hey bazalwane, hey ma-Afrika, asiphunyukeni kule syndrome ye-dependence. Akusizi ukuba nama-New Year resolution wa-2023 usasuffer from i-dependency syndrome. I-dependency syndrome is killing your strength to perform now. I-dependency syndrome. Ngoba noma ungaba nama-plan manje, angeke uwa-implemente, angeke materialize until you find someone who has more power or bigger than you to assist you to fulfill those plans. It's not dependency syndrome. Sisamile, yazi sisame ngezinto ezinye ezisilimazayo. Ngena ndabane ama-relationship. Endabeni ama-relationship. That is why we have HPV. I-root cause HPV, i-dependency syndrome. You enter into a relationship nomuntu, not on clean heart, not based on love, but based on insecurity ne-supply. Ungenothandweni nami because it seems as if nginomsebenzi oright. Ungenothandweni nami, ungena ku-relationship nami because I am providing. Meaning that we sithandana on the level of provision ne-security. What if I can no longer offer those two elements in that relationship? Uyaqala uthi awusi-type yami besingakafanelanga ukuthandana, angazi bongenwe yini uzaze uhlale nami, hey ini because you were not in love with me, but you were in love with my provision and security. Now that those two things are no longer there, that's why people, they end up abusing each other in the relationship. Ladies, ungathanda umuntu because of i-provision ne-security. Impilo inama-ups and downs. What if la ngelinye iphelela umsebenzi? What if la ngelinye ushayisa imoto? What if la ngelinye bayamxosha emsebenzini? What's going to happen now to your security if he can no longer supply or he can no longer provide your needs? And listen to me, ma Africa. Every time I'm a relationship abusive, a partner A1 or we provider everything in both genders. If I'm a provider everything, you're gonna abuse a loba. If you provider everything, you're gonna abuse a mama. One way or the other, go an abuse if one partner is responsible for provision and security. Let both partners fund their independence. Sihlanganise independent. So it will spawn ukuthi sihlanganisa le ma independence so it awakhona ukwakha a better empire. Nayibona this thing. So this thing, dependency syndrome, is limazile. We cannot think for ourselves. We're always expecting people to think for us. We're always expecting someone to come somewhere and do things for us. Run away from the spirit of dependency syndrome. Run away from dependency syndrome. Ungayidluliseli ebantwaneni. Asifundise abantwana bethu ukuzimela. Asifundise abantwana bethu ukuba responsible from babancane. Abantwana bethu sibafundisa ukuba dependent kithi. Siqede sigule. Babe useless to us. Thina laba besibafundisa ukuba babe dependent kithi. Nasesigula they become useless to us because they cannot help us. They cannot provide for themselves. Then baphenduka abantu benyawuphe badla inyawuphe. I-dependency syndrome nayo iyodwa yiyo eyenza abantu bagcine basema-drugsini. Musukufunda ukudependa phezu kwama-substance for your happiness. Learn not to depend upon any substance, either it's alcohol, it's nicotine, or it's whatever kind of a drug for your happiness. Depend on a certain substance. Nakhona la kuma-drug abuse kuqala kuyi-dependency syndrome. You start manje ukuthi angikhona ukucabanga kahle ngakabhemi, ngikhona ukucabanga kahle ngakabhemi, angikhona ukwenza ukuthi nokuthi ngingakenzi ukuthi. Go check lento depende phezu kwayo ukuthi i-dangerous kangakanani or i-addictive kangakanani empilweni yakho, and what will be the after effects of what you depend on right now. Depende phezu kwayo. Yini leno depende phezu kwayo ekwenza ube useless nayingekho. Akunanto emhlabeni okukose ithi nayingekho wena ube useless. Akunamuntu emhlabeni okukose nayengekho wena usale useless. Akuna system ye-government okukose ukuthi nayingekho duze kwakho wena ube useless. If you are not connected, now unganama connection with government, you become useless. Now unganama connection wama-companies, wama-business people, you become useless. The spirit of dependence, start your business, sell apples, nakhonakalayo uthengisa ama-orange, nakhonakalayo yikha imbuya, uqala ibhizinisi yembuya, uthengisa imbuya, it's a very good business. People, they buy imbuya. It's not dependency syndrome. Girlfriend depende ku-boyfriend. Mama depende kumama ke, ugogo, abantwana abadepende kumama, mama nobaba abadepende ku-government. And the dependency syndrome senza feel so entitled to things that doesn't belong to us. There are things that doesn't belong to us. If you depend emalini for your happiness, you will never be happy in this world. Money doesn't belong to us. Imali iyafika iyadlula, iyafika iyadrotate so. Nomunye wanayo. If ube ne-strategy right sokuyi-accumulator. So if you depend kuyo for everything, you'll never be happy. You'll end up ukuyela kule nto engayifundisa i-desperation. You'll never be happy. Be careful ukuthi udepende phezu kwani. Be careful ukuthi udepende phezu kwani. Rather, believe and trust and hope in God. Dependency syndrome is killing our nation, bafowethu. Dependency syndrome is killing our nation. We are victims of dependency syndrome. We are victims of dependency syndrome. We cannot start companies, run them until they are big. We cannot start anything fresh, because someone must help us into lena izoziphumelele. And there was someone osizayo kose kube nguye oshaya imithetho okugcina kunguye uNkulunkulu wethu phezu kwento eqalwe yithi. Because we have a dependency syndrome. Let us be independent. If we can learn to be independent thinkers, learn to be an independent thinker. Establish something, stick to that thing until iziphumelele. Uzuyibone ukuthi na into yami iphumelele manje. Ngiyaqhubeka ngale nto yami, ngiyodla ngayo le nto yami. Africa, run away from dependency syndrome. Musukusama, musukuncika ngezinto eziphelayo. Zimele, vuka uzimele. Wada!